Welcome back, everybody. It's 2:30 and it's time for us to start the next session. I hope all of you are recharged for this afternoon session on the topic of writing a research proposal. I would like to begin the afternoon proceedings by welcoming and introducing our resource person for this session, Professor Anupam Ahuja. Welcome, ma'am.
A very good afternoon to all.
Good afternoon, ma'am. Dr. Anupam Ahuja is a professor in the Department of Education of Groups with Special Needs, DEGSN, at the National Council of Educational Research and Training, NCERT. Currently, she is also the head of the International Relations Division, IRD, at NCERT. She is head of the Department of Education of Groups with Special Needs at NCERT for the last 3 years. She has more than 30 years of national and international experiences in the field of education with a focus on developing inclusive practices. Professor Ahuja has worked in more than 20 countries on numerous assignments on training, initiating, guiding, and evaluating inclusive programs in Africa, Asia, and Eastern Europe for UNESCO, UNICEF, World Bank, Braillio, Norway, and a number of international organizations. She has contributed to many national and international research-based publications on education and school improvement for children with special needs. She reviewed the Education for All EFA plans for 17 Asian and Pacific countries with a focus on the linkages between inclusion and the EFA on behalf of UNESCO Bangkok. She is the founder and co-editor of EENET Asia, which stands for Enabling Education Network. Professor Ahuja, welcome, and thank you for taking the time to be a part of this FDP. Ma'am, please take over the session.
For the introduction. One drawback of an introduction is that you immediately know that I am not in my 16s. Yeah, it gives away my age, but that's what one always likes to share, because aging is a process which one enjoys. So I'm very happy to be here with all of you, and thanks to Professor Bhan for inviting me, and all of you for welcoming me. 2:30 is not a good time to talk, and then to talk about how to write a research proposal. Well, with Sujata Bhanji being there, she must have activated all of you into being alert learners for all these days. So I do not accept that challenge. And I'm happy that I'm here at 2:30. And looking forward to talking to you for an hour or so about what is a research proposal and how do we go about writing one. I would like to say at the outset that as a person who likes to share thoughts and relate them with an audience like yours, I don't want to end this by just this 1 hour. Okay, you will have my email with you. You're welcome to write to me, and I promise you that I will promptly respond if I travel, which is not going to be possible during post-corona time as of now. But if I was to travel, I would be saying I'll get back to you. So keep that in mind. I'm with you even after this hour, and I look forward to you actually getting into this process of writing a research proposal, not just learning about it. And when you write, you think about, oh, yes, that's what Anupam told us. And let me check with her. So that's the relationship that I want to say right at the outset. And I hope all of you accept that. Now, I want a big yes from you before I go on. Can somebody at least say yes on behalf of others? I hope you'll stay in touch with us.
Yes.
I'm talking to, can I ask? Okay, there I go. Can Archana also say yes? I can read your names. Can Amarkesh also say yes? And can Aarti also say yes? Now, there's no gender balance here in these names, or is there? I think, of course, Aarti is Aarti and Amarkesh. Can I have a yes from you? Yeah. Not hearing a yes. What did I ask you? That you stay in touch with me. Okay. All right. I'll wait for the yes as time
They'll
passes.
always be in touch. They are from Delhi and they'll always be in touch with you.
Yeah, great, great. Okay. So let's start, and I have tried to put my thoughts down into a PPT, and I think that that's important in a way because it helps us focus in an hour and not lose touch with what exactly I want to talk about first. And then, of course, as I talk to you, I would always want you to respond to the text that I'm talking about, and you can always stop me and ask me a question. Okay, so having set the rules for the current interaction and the post interaction, let's first start and think about what is a research proposal. What does it? What is this? What is a research proposal? That's really the first question that we want to ask ourselves. Now, as you will all know, that a research proposal is it's really going to help us what the proposed research tell us what the proposed research is all about. What is it trying to find out or achieve for us? How will I go about it? And what will I learn from it? And why is it worth learning? These are some questions that answer the question, what is a research proposal? So basically what I'm trying to say is that it is planning and designing. Anything that we do, anything that we want to do, there is it helps us to plan and design it. And if it is approved, this proposal leads to the project itself. That's what's fundamental to understand, that the proposal leads to the project itself. And when we are preparing the proposal, it may involve considerable research, since it's going to be a process of planning and designing. So when we are planning to write a research proposal, we must remember first what it is. Now, are you more or less clear about what a research proposal is? Would you like to ask something, or would you like to make a comment here?
She has muted herself by mistake.
Yeah. Professor Ahuja?
Can you hear?
Now we.
Actually, you went on mute accidentally, so we missed quite a bit of what you were saying.
Okay. Then I'll come back to it again.
And the video also.
Am I audible now? Am I audible?
Yes,
And
very
visible?
much.
Yes, ma'am.
Not visible, but audible.
Okay, not visible. Okay, let me go about. 1 second. I'll get back to you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I started off by saying, what is a research proposal? Did people hear me when I was talking about what is a research proposal?
Yes. The first slide, yes.
Okay, right. All right, great. Then please tell me. I was asking the audience that when I talked about 4 quick bullet points that I had said, that if you have to explain what is a research proposal,
we cannot see your slides, Professor Ahuja. We cannot see your slides. No, share slides. Yeah. Yeah, maybe we can start from the beginning and quickly move to the present one. Yes. Slideshow, please. If getting on the video is a problem, it's still okay as long as we can hear you and see the slides.
Start talking and I see the slides as well. I was saying, if we come to the what is a research proposal is my first fundamental question that I want to throw to the audience. And when we think about this whole process, we would like to see that let's begin with a research proposal and what it and how are you going to convince others about it. You have to when you write a proposal, obviously not writing it for yourself. You have to make a worthwhile research proposal and you need to have adequate knowledge and competence to do that research. That's what you need to tell your audience. You have to tell them that it's a realistic plan, and that it can be completed in the time frame that you are proposing. So that's something that right at the outset you need to keep in mind. An effective research proposal needs to address some fundamental things. First and foremost, what do I want to study? That's something very fundamental. People often come and say, ma'am, you've got so many years of research with you. Can you suggest a topic to me? And I'm going to write a research proposal on it. Now, I am a little taken aback by a question like that. Because if you're asking me to give you a topic, then the fundamental thing of writing a research proposal, the first step, what do I want to study, is something that you have not asked yourself. So what I want to tell you, friends, first and foremost is, if you're going to do a research and you're going to take this task of writing a proposal, you must ask yourself, what is it that I want to study? What is the topic? Why is this topic important? Problems will it help solve? Obviously, if you're writing a proposal and you're attempting to do research, you're not going to, it's not going to solve all the problems of your area. If you attempt to do that, well, somebody may say you're over enthusiastic, so you can zero down to something, but you must be very clear, what problem will it help solve? How does it build upon and hopefully go beyond research that's already conducted on the topic? That's very important as well, because you may be thinking of a point to something to study, and you may be thinking that it's a very important study, but maybe there are many people who have done it before you. So what's important for all of you to remember is that you must build upon something you may be building upon something that's already done. So what exactly should I plan to do, and how can it be done in the available time? All of us these days are doing multitasking. We are doing 2 or 3 things at a time. Gone are the days when, like me, when I was doing my graduation, just doing my graduation, I was not doing a course with it. I was not learning how to climb a mountain, and learn mountaineering skills. I was not going for rafting. But nowadays, all of you are doing many, many things simultaneously. So you must be also very clear that if this is what I want to study and this is the topic that I want to do, how will I do it within the given available time? So these are a few bullet points that I want you to consider when you are first attempting this exercise of, attempting to work on an effective research proposal. Something else that I want to tell you, I put it in italics in this slide, right at the end. It says, wow, what what is it going to, I can hardly wait for it to come. That's something that you need to really also kindle that amongst people, you know. So look at it from that point of view also, that when you're writing a research proposal, really answering this, what an exciting idea this is, you know, who's reviewing it. I can't wait to see how it turns out. Now, that's a very effective statement that I want you to think about when you are starting this whole exercise of writing a research proposal. Now, how many of you really want to reach that level, you know, that somebody is asking you this, is reviewing your research proposal and saying, this seems really exciting. How is it going to turn out? What are going to be our results in this? That's the interest level that you need to create amongst your audience, you know. So please look at it from that perspective, and then we will be able to really work on a very appropriate research proposal. So would you like to say something right now? Because that's, I want to kindle that interest in you. First, to be thinking about what is a research proposal and then the main purpose of the research. And comment, please. Hello, can you?
Yeah, ma'am. Some of the comments in the chat section says, excited to go towards exploring it. Research proposal has to be made with a lot of insight and foresight. It's a very valid aspect.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Okay.
There's no
Very
motivation.
good.
We may not achieve anything interesting.
Yes. Okay. So that's good. Will I chat box, or would I also get some direct response?
Yes, ma'am. You can check it in the chat box.
Okay. All right. Okay. That, and is there a possibility of a two-way where I can ask and answer? No.
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely. You can. You can ask directly, and they can message in the chat box with their responses.
Okay. All right. Okay.
And
there is no
a small request, ma'am.
Yes.
Yes. A small request, ma'am. If possible, could you switch between Hindi and English, because we have a few participants in the audience who don't follow English very well.
बिल्कुल. तो अभी तक जो मैंने कहा, आप लोगों ने बहुत अच्छे रिस्पॉन्सेस दिए हैं, और जैसे मैंने शुरू में सोचा था कि आप लोग बहुत अलर्ट एंड यू विल बी वेरी मच विद मी. सो अभी आप लोग सब मुझसे इसमें सहमत हैं कि हमें जब रिसर्च कोई भी शुरू करनी है, तो जब रिसर्च प्रपोजल बनाए और वो अप्रूव होने जाए, प्रोजेक्ट बने, तो उसमें देखने वाले को इतना अच्छा लगना चाहिए आपका प्रपोजल. इस तरह हम इसको डिस्कस करेंगे कि वो कहे कि भाई कब ये खत्म होगा ये रिसर्च और इसकी फाइंडिंग्स क्या होंगी. तो इस तरह का आप प्रपोजल बनाएं और try to answer these bullet points that we have stated. Ki what does the proposed research is all about? What is it trying to find out? क्या हम इसे अचीव करेंगे, कैसे करेंगे, और इसकी प्लानिंग आपको एक रिसर्च प्रपोजल में हम कैसे आगे चलेंगे. और अगर ये अप्रूव हुआ तो इस प्रपोजल को प्रोजेक्ट बनने में कुछ ही टाइम लगने वाला है. ये एक धारणा लेके हम चलेंगे तो हमारा प्रपोजल बनाने का जो इरादा है वो बहुत मजबूत होगा और अच्छे से आप लोग बनाएंगे. तो नेक्स्ट स्लाइड में मैंने आपको वही स्टेटमेंट, मैं फिर से इस स्टेटमेंट को दोहराती हूँ. पढ़ने वाला आपके प्रपोजल को देख के प्रोजेक्ट अप्रूव करते वक्त सोचे, यही आपका उद्देश्य होना चाहिए. इतना एक्साइटिंग आइडिया है, किसी ने इसके बारे में सोचा ही नहीं था. अरे इस बंदे ने तो बहुत अच्छा रिव्यू किया है लिटरेचर का. जब ये प्रपोजल के ये रिसर्च करी जाएगी, जो जवाब आएंगे कितने बढ़िया होंगे. मैं तो उस दिन का इंतजार कर रहा हूँ कि इनके रिजल्ट्स निकल कर आए. तो ये इरादा लेकर हम चलते हैं और रिसर्च चाहिए. इट्स हमेशा याद रखिए, द मेन पर्पस ऑफ एनी रिसर्च प्रपोजल is to convince others that the research project is worth doing. उसी टीम में जब रिव्यू होता है रिसर्च प्रोजेक्ट प्रपोजल, तो बहुत लोग ऐसे बैठे होते हैं ये ठान कर, they have it in their mind that we are going to reject the research proposal. But you should always write a proposal which is worthy of doing. The research process is valid and appropriate. You should be able to convince your reviewer. And the research has adequate competency and enthusiasm to complete the project within the proposed time frame. आपके research proposal से ये भाप आनी चाहिए कि जो रिव्यू कर रहा है कि ये तो बड़ा enthusiastic researcher है और बहुत competent है और enthusiasm में ये इसको इस time frame में जरूर खत्म करेगा। और आपका proposal जरूर realistic होना चाहिए, doable होना चाहिए, और एक शब्द और मैंने लाल इंक में लिखा है, practical होना चाहिए, क्योंकि बहुत सारा थियोरेटिकल फोकस अगर दिखेगा तो तब आपका रिसर्च प्रपोजल लोगों को नहीं भाएगा और वो प्रोजेक्ट में नहीं तब्दील होगा. So remember that it should be realistic, practical and doable. It's not only a document, a research proposal. It should be something that should be vibrant, It should be something that the audience instantly takes to. And हमेशा याद रखिए कि ये एक प्रोसेस है रिसर्च प्रपोजल बनाने का भी, और अगले 10, 15, 20 मिनट में हम इस पर और ध्यान देंगे कि कैसे हाउ डू वी राइट अ गुड रिसर्च. आपको पता, अभी तक मैंने बताया है कि रिसर्च प्रपोजल क्या होता है और इसका पर्पस क्या है. Can I go on to talk about how do we go about writing a good research proposal? अब एक शब्द आप लोगों ने सबने सुना होगा, हाइपोथेसिस. ये क्या होता है, और इसको थोड़ी देर के लिए अभी रखिए आप बगल में. कुछ चीजें बहुत जरूरी हैं जो हम रिसर्च प्रपोजल लिखने के लिए थोड़ा सा और गौर से देखते हैं. देखिए, रिसर्च से निकलता है डेटा, और जो डेटा होता है उसको जब हम एनालाइज करते हैं तो हमारे को जो हमारे रिसर्च क्वेश्चंस हैं उनके आंसर्स मिलते हैं, राइट. तो अब ये डेटा हम कैसे लें, एक रिसर्च प्रपोजल में ये उभर के आना चाहिए कि हम ये डेटा कैसे लें. तो सबसे पहले, जैसे हमने अभी बोला था, हम अपना रिसर्च एरिया डिफाइन करें. We will be very clear that which is the area that excites me, ignites my imagination, and which is the area that I want to take up. Then you will decide, after your area is defined, what is your topic that you want to take. So after you have delineated your topic, questions that you want answers to. Now you will be asking yourself कि भाई ये कैसे पता लगेगा मुझे, मैं कैसे बनाऊंगा ये questions या बनाऊंगी ये questions. देखिए, you are not the first researcher, you are not the first person who is writing a research proposal. There is a lot of literature that's available, and you are a professional who understands your context. Data collect करने से पहले आपको अपने questions रिसर्च के डिलीनिएट करने हैं. उसके लिए आप लिटरेचर रिव्यू कर सकते हैं, और लिटरेचर रिव्यू हर रिसर्चर को करना अनिवार्य है. दैट्स वन ऑफ योर बेसिक रूल्स. सो यू हैव टू गो बैक you can go online. Nowadays you don't really visit libraries. When we did our research, in our initial years, to the hard copies of lots of researches that were compiled. We used to first go and see, do we have all those years of research? Is the library equipped? What are the, if I come during the office hours, will I mean the office hours of the library, kya main khatam kitne dinon mein kar paungi, etc., etc. Nowadays you're all fortunate. You have research that is available by using just a small mouse. And you can review a lot of literature sitting at home in your comfortable AC rooms. So review your literature, decide your area, decide your topic, delineate your questions, and try to understand that how do these questions fit into the current context that. Now, after you have your research questions with you, you have almost got your pre-empirical stage through. You will then now come to now jumping into the field and deciding what should be the way you will design your research. How will you collect your data? Data collection can be a very exciting process, and when you're planning it, you can, flap your wings and go helter-skelter. But that's not also what is really the right way. You need to be very clear what data you need to collect. You do not need to, collect irrelevant data. And you need to also understand that the data you collect needs to be how it is going to be analyzed. Your research proposal must throw light on that also. Because if you have your data analysis with you and your methodology of data collection, it makes that whole process of reviewing the research proposal a good thing for those who are doing it. They immediately can smell that this person has done a literature review, has decided their area very carefully, has zeroed down to a topic that interests and ignites them. उनको बहुत उत्सुकता से ये research questions उन्होंने निकाले हैं, उन्होंने अपना डिजाइन बनाया है, डेटा कलेक्शन का तरीका बनाया है, और डेटा एनालिसिस कैसे करना है वो, और कि जब ये सब क्रिया खत्म हो, कौन से सवाल जो आपने पूछे थे उनकी क्या जवाब निकले. So what data we need to answer our research questions should also be. That is a model that I wanted to show you first. This is a very simple model. It does not have, it's without a hypothesis. It's a simplified model of a research. So I want you to spend some quiet moments re-looking at this. इसको जरा ध्यान से देखिए कि research area, topic, research questions leading to the design, leading to data collection, and how it is going to be analyzed, and how will the analysis lead to answer some of the research questions you had in your mind. This is what you need to churn in your head, and this is what you need to. इसके बारे में अगर आप अपने दिमाग में इसको लाएंगे तो आपको रिसर्च प्रपोजल लिखना की क्रिया आनंददायक भी होगी और आसान. And it's what I'm trying to show you is a model of research that helps to organize the research proposal in a very effective manner. तो इसके बारे में आप थोड़ा सा टाइम लगाइए, इसके बारे में सोचिए, और फिर हम जाएंगे बेसिक एलिमेंट्स ऑफ रिसर्च प्रपोजल को और ध्यान से देखने. Is there anything that you want to say right now? You can put it in your chat box. I can get your responses, but I hope this slide is clear to all of you. I'm going to look at the chat box now for your remarks at this juncture. Right, what you're thinking.
It's very clear. They're all saying, Anupam ji, it's all very clear.
Okay,
great.
Good. बहुत अच्छा लगा कि आपको ये clarity हो गई. तो हमारा, they say, well begun is half done. So we are almost there because we are very clear there about what to do. Okay, then let me just jump straight to the next slide. And as I go on, it'll become clearer. It's very heartening to note that you are with me on this. Okay, next slide. I am now going to give you the basic elements of a research proposal. Mind you, I have very carefully stated that this is only illustrative. Okay, ये कोई हमने इसको पत्थर पे लकीर नहीं डाल दी है, पत्थर में गाड़ के ये 12 के 12 ऐसे ही हो, ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. मैंने सिर्फ मोटी मोटी बातों को लिखा है और इनके ऊपर हम अब सोचेंगे, ताकि जब आप लिखें आप मोर और लेस इनके बारे में आप लोग सोचें, और ये बेसिक एलिमेंट्स आपको रिसर्च प्रपोजल के आपके सामने हमने रखे हैं। बहुत ही ऑब्वियस बात है कि कोई भी रिसर्च प्रपोजल का सबसे पहले एक टाइटल होगा। इसके बारे में और बात करेंगे, मगर छोटे छोटे बिंदु के साथ में ये 12 पॉइंट्स को पहले हम स्टेट कर देते हैं। एक एब्स्ट्रैक्ट भी लिखना पड़ेगा। You know, people don't these days have time and patience, you know. Somebody may just walk into your committee and, you know, may not be able to have read it, but would quickly like to go through the abstract of the proposal and make a, you know, idea, is it really a good proposal or not? So please be very careful. An abstract is something that you must work very hard on. So a title, and we'll go about, I'll explain further how a title needs to be written as well. What an abstract signifies, I've just told you, कि ऐसा abstract उम्दा होना चाहिए कि रिव्यूअर को लगे, अरे भाई ये तो बहुत अच्छी चीजें इस एब्स्ट्रैक्ट में है, ये रिसर्च प्रपोजल बढ़िया है और जानते हैं इसके बारे में। इंट्रोडक्शन होती है एक बेसिक रिसर्च प्रपोजल में। आपको मैंने पहले भी बताया कि आप पहले रिसर्चर नहीं है जिसने रिसर्च प्रपोजल लिख रहे हैं या रिसर्च करने वाले हैं, आपसे पहले भी बहुत लोगों ने किया है, एंड देयर विल बी मेनी पीपल हु विल फॉलो यू आल्सो। सो यू मस्ट डू अ रिव्यू ऑफ लिटरेचर, you must set clear aims and objectives, there should be clear questions, there could be a hypothesis, we'll dwell further on this also. The methodology should be very clear कि आपका डिजाइन क्या है, प्रोसीजर क्या है, सैंपल एंड इंस्ट्रूमेंट्स जो आप यूज करेंगे वो कौन से हैं, एक चार्ट टाइम जरूर होना चाहिए, एक बजट प्रोविजन जरूर होना चाहिए। देखिए बिना पैसे के तो कुछ नहीं काम होता है, तो बजटिंग एक, हम ज्यादातर लोगों से पूछे आपने क्यों रिसर्च लिखा था, देखिए मैडम हमने रिसर्च प्रपोजल इसलिए लिखा था क्योंकि हमें बजट चाहिए था। तो बजट always, you know, the tail does wag the dog and the dog wants to wag the tail, so the budget is also very important, we'll dwell on that. I feel that our research proposal must have a conclusion. You know, many people think जब abstract है तो conclusion की क्या जरूरत है, conclusion और abstract में फर्क है, we will dwell on that also further. बहुत कुछ लिखा है कि bibliograph की graphic references कैसे बनानी चाहिए। हर यूनिवर्सिटीज के अपने अपने तरीके भी होते हैं, SNDT का भी अपना होगा, अगर आप कैम्ब्रिज यूनिवर्सिटी जाएंगे तो वहां उनका अपना होगा, उसके बारे में भी हम अभी बात करेंगे। और ऑक्सफोर्ड यूनिवर्सिटी जाएंगे तो वो एक कॉमा के लिए अगर आपका ठीक नहीं है कहीं तो हो सकता है रिसर्च प्रपोजल वापस भेजे, पॉइंट नंबर 13 का बिब्लियोग्राफी में कॉमा मिसिंग है, उसको आपने कोलन किया है, चेंज करके भेजिए तब हम इसको कमिटी में रखेंगे। ऐसे भी फिनिकी होते हैं लोग बिब्लियोग्राफिक रेफरेंसेस के बारे में। सो इट इज नॉट समथिंग दैट हम सोचे अरे कैसे भी लिख दीजिए, ऐसे नहीं होता है। एनेक्स्चर्स भी बहुत केयरफुली बनने पड़ते हैं। तो ये बेसिक एलिमेंट्स हैं जो अभी मैंने आपको इस स्लाइड में दिखाए कि हमें रिसर्च प्रपोजल कैसे लिखना चाहिए। इनके बारे में, हर के बारे में अब हम थोड़ा ध्यान से और देखेंगे, एंड वी विल ड्वेल ऑन ईच ऑफ देम फर्स्ट। लेट अस लुक एट द टाइटल ऑफ अ रिसर्च। नाउ टाइटल यू कैन से मैम मैंने अपना एरिया चुन लिया, मैंने अपना ये टाइटल बनाया। आप टाइटल अपने जरूर बना सकते हैं, मगर याद रखिए आपका टाइटल कंसाइज होना चाहिए, डिस्क्रिप्टिव, इंफॉर्मेटिव एंड कैची होना चाहिए। ये चारों शब्द अगर आप याद रखेंगे अपने साथ तो आपके बहुत काम आएंगे। याद रखिएगा मैडम आहूजा ने कहा था कंसाइज होना चाहिए, डिस्क्रिप्टिव होना चाहिए, इंफॉर्मेटिव होना चाहिए, मगर कैची भी होना चाहिए। और अगर आप कैची टाइटल बनाएंगे तो आपको एक, जैसे मैंने एग्जांपल दिया, एन इन्वेस्टिगेशन ऑफ, ये नहीं होना चाहिए, बिकॉज आपने ये थोड़ी बताना है कि मैं क्या इन्वेस्टिगेशन करने जा रहा हूं। These are irrelevant words. Title should be clearly indicated. The independent and dependent variables should be clear. The title should provide keywords for the classification and indexing of a project. याद रखिए जो आपने प्रोजेक्ट प्रपोजल दिया है वो एक रिसर्च निकल के आएगी और लोग भी उसको रिव्यू करने जाएंगे, तो लाइब्रेरीज में उसको इंडेक्स करना पड़ेगा आपकी काम को। तो जब आप टाइटल लिखें, आप याद रखिए उसमें कीवर्ड्स हो जो इंडेक्सिंग में, क्लासिफिकेशन में और इसको प्रोजेक्ट के फॉर्म में इंडेक्सिंग हो या रिसर्च के फॉर्म में आपके काम की इंडेक्सिंग हो, इट शुड लेंड इटसेल्फ टू दैट। तो या मोटी बात सिर्फ ये मैं बताना चाहती हूँ कि आपका टाइटल बहुत सोच समझ के आपको लिखना चाहिए, ऐसे ही कुछ शब्दों का इस्तेमाल करके नहीं आपको अपना टाइटल बनाना चाहिए। टाइटल को लेकर 1-2 दिन सोचिए, कुछ लोगों को अपना टाइटल सुनाइए, उनसे फीडबैक लीजिए कि ये अगर मेरा टाइटल है, क्या ये कंसाइज है, क्या ये डिस्क्रिप्टिव है, इंफॉर्मेटिव है, क्या कोई आप शब्द बता सकते हैं इसमें जो और कैची बना सकते हैं। You know, so if you bounce it with others, तो आपको अपना टाइटल को रिफाइन करने का एक मौका भी मिलेगा। टाइटल का अगर if you are a morning person, think of your title in the morning. If you are a late night thinker, think about it late night, but do it well, my friends. All of you need to remember this, that the title of your research has to be something that you have thought over. You have not just done it, you know, passingly. तो ये पहला मुद्दा है। दूसरा पॉइंट है जो मैंने अभी आपको बताया कि आपकी ब्रीफ समरी प्रपोजल की जरूर होनी चाहिए, क्योंकि कोई लोग हो सकता है सिर्फ वो पढ़ के एक इरादा बनाए, एक उनके पास समय की थोड़ी कमी हो। Usually we say about 300 to 500 words, but I have written the lower limit here, okay? And it can vary, I repeat, between 300 to 500 words. Again, universities often do say कि इतने words का लिखो, कभी-कभी आपको 250 words भी बोलेंगे, तो याद रखिए कम words में लिखना ज़्यादा मुश्किल होता है, ज़्यादा words में लिखना हमेशा आसान होता है। जब आप अपना एब्स्ट्रैक्ट लिखें, ये 5 बिंदुओं पर जरूर अपना ध्यान रखिए that your abstract must cover these areas. The rationale of the study. You may be wedded to your study, you may be liking your area, but your abstract must give the reader a clear understanding of what is the rationale of your study. It should also give some about if there is any hypothesis, the methodology, how are you going to go about working? Like I told you in the previous slide, that if you recall that there is a design, there is data collection, analysis, that methodology, etc. should be very, very clear to you as well. It should also indicate the time frame. It should give you the expected outcomes. So it's quite a lot. बहुत कुछ लिखना पड़ता है एक एक्सट्रैक्ट में, और कई बार 250 शब्दों में इसको कंसाइज फॉर्म में लिखना इतना आसान नहीं। But it's important activity. Do not again do it in a passing manner. Look into the rules of where you are submitting your research proposal and accordingly work it out. But please remember, it should cover, I repeat, the rationale, the hypothesis, the methodology, and the time frame. And it should also give some indication of what you expect this work is going to give. Now, I want you to think next now about the introduction. I am sharing this screen very consciously, and I have really thought hard about what I've written, because I want it to be precise for you. I want it to be with you. जब आप बाद में मेरे इस talk के बारे में सोचें, तो मैंने बहुत carefully एक synopsis बनाया है, जो आपका introduction है. The main purpose of the introduction is to provide the necessary background or the context of your research problem. Okay, that is why you are writing an introduction. You know, बहुत लोग haywire चले जाते हैं introduction लिखते वक्त, बहुत कुछ डालना चाहते हैं. ये जो बिंदु मैंने again there are about 8 or 9 points that I have stressed, which will help you remain focused on writing an introduction. Very logically, आपकी introduction में आपका purpose of study जरूर होना चाहिए. Necessity and importance of the study reader को जरूर मिलना चाहिए कि क्यों ये करना जरूरी है. इसकी अगर ये ना करें तो क्या दुनिया गोल घूमना बंद हो जाएगी? Obviously, दुनिया गोल घूमना बंद तो नहीं होगी, लेकिन ये आपकी रिसर्च बहुत कुछ मुद्दों पर रोशनी डालेगी जो पहले लोगों ने रिसर्च की है और जो उन्होंने कहा है कि ये मुद्दों पे कभी-कभी pick up from what other researchers have left behind. So the necessity and importance of this come through in your introduction. Remember, it's a brief description. It's not going to be too lengthy. Then it will again lose its zip. वो शब्दों का इस्तेमाल करते हैं तो कई बार हम जो मोटी बात कहना चाहते हैं वो गुम जाती है. वो नहीं होना चाहिए. It should be a brief description of the major issues and sub problems to be addressed by the researcher. It should also have independent and dependent variables of the experiment. आपने चुने हैं वो clearly introduction में आने चाहिए. अगर एक hypothesis है या theory है, if any, वो भी आना चाहिए. And you must have clearly indicate the limitations or boundaries of the proposed research. And please remember, आप as a researcher जान सकते हैं, लेकिन आप एक शब्द को कैसे define करते हैं, जरूरी नहीं है जो आपको review कर रहा है वो भी आपका वही meaning ले. So, must be also very clearly stated, because we must all agree what are the key terms and how you as a researcher have defined them. So this, friend, is what I feel you must include in your introduction. You can dwell over this later also, but if you want to say something at this juncture, I'm reading your screen, I'm reading your comments. You can write your comments on. I have covered 3 aspects till now. I've talked about how you write your research, how you write about the title. I have also talked about the abstract. And I've also talked about the introduction.
Are you hungry?
Juncture?
Mics, please. Can you turn off the mics, please?
Yes, Sarah, you want to say something? No, ma'am, it's clear. Okay, Krutika, thank you. So I then presume that you're all clear about the title, how you have to go about it, about how you will write an abstract, and we have also covered till now how we will write an introduction. So that's really good if you're with me at there. How big it should be? Well, that's a good question to ask. It depends from university to university, but it should certainly not be more than, to the best, in good research proposals, it should not be more than a A4 size page. You know, that is what usually एक या सवा पेज या 1.5 पेज से ज्यादा ये नहीं होना चाहिए. Thank you for saying that it is clear. I'll then proceed, and now let us focus on another very important part of a research proposal, and that is a review of literature. Now, literature reviews are designed, you know why, I have talked about it. There was a question that I missed in the chat box, can you repeat it? Well, I'm talking about review of literature. Literature reviews, as I said, you know why they are designed. They provide an overview of sources that have been explored while researching a particular topic. You're asking, is there a fundamental difference between, I didn't get the latter part. If you want.
Is there any fundamental difference between writing proposal to government bodies for getting funds and to the university?
Yes,
They're
there is.
asking for funds. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, that's a good question. The best thing to do for writing a research proposal for a government body is you can go to previous research proposals, and once you go into those, you will know what the government really, what is the set format and what they look for. I represent a government body, and therefore I can speak with full conviction. Government bodies usually go by precedent. Okay, so it's always good to follow the precedent that happens, projects. As an intelligent researcher, what were the key characteristics that made them go through? Okay, usually what government bodies are a little finicky about, where can we get yes, that's a good question. Where can you get these? You can get them on, if you, for example, if you go to MHRD, you will get it on their website. Now it's mandatory that we must put up the research proposals past, what were their titles. All government bodies have to the government bodies portal, and universities also have set norms. So it's not, I feel that what is really needed is a research interest. Research uh, promote it in our country. It's a good time to put up proposals. Don't go by those who say, no, hote hi nahi hai pass, kya karna hai likh ke. These are things of the past. Nowadays, most often when we write something, Professor Bhan and others who have preceded me in talking to you will always tell you that what really were everything that we say, very often it's asked, does it have a research base? Or are you just, saying this out of your own experience? So research base agar hum har cheez ka sawal पूछते हैं, so that can only come by researching. So please feel enthused to take up research and write proposals. Government bodies and others are keen to look into researches and clear them. Okay, and as I repeat, these are good times to put up researches. So let's go back to now reviewing a literature. Welcome, Komal, you have just joined the meeting, and I see that Kranti has also joined, and so have others. Lovely is also there. Happy to have you all. The more the merrier. I'm talking about writing a research proposal. There is also Chandrasekhar who has joined. So I will now focus on reviewing of literature. Choose those studies which are most relevant and most important. Usually we say, पिछले 5 साल की researches आप ध्यान से देखें, उससे ही एक trend मिलेगा. Ensure that you are not reinventing the wheel. अगर आप उसी तरह की research कर रहे हैं जो पहले हुई है, approve. Because there is no point trying to say the sun rises in the east. We all know it. So many years it has been. So if you want to say, I really prove that the sun rises in the east, then it's not really going to be. So what I'm trying to tell you is, be very careful you don't reinvent wheels. Give credit to those who have laid the groundwork for your research. Don't try to prove to the audience and to the research proposal reviewers that yours is, lots of eureka that you have done. It could be, but it's always good to say that जो मैंने समझा है, जो मैं आपके सामने लेके आया हूँ प्रपोजल, उसका मैंने बहुत ग्राउंड वर्क हो चुका है, बिकॉज बहुत सारी रिसर्चेस पहले भी हुई हैं. Demonstrate your understanding of theoretical and research issues that are related to your question. अगर पढ़ने वाले को ये कन्विक्शन वो ले सकेगा कि आपने ईमानदारी से रिव्यू किया है और आपको समझ है कि क्या काम पहले हुआ है और क्या आगे की जरूरत है, आप अगर अपनी क्रिटिकल एबिलिटी दिखा सकेंगे, आप अपनी एबिलिटी दिखा सकेंगे कि पहले का जो भी हुआ है उसको मैंने उसको सिंथेसाइज किया है, उसको दिमाग में चर्न किया है और तब मैं ये रिसर्च लेकर आया हूँ, तो आपका रिसर्च प्रपोजल बहुत जल्दी से एक्सेप्ट होगा और उसकी उत्सुकता जो मैंने शुरू में कहा उत्सुकता होगी कि क्या इस provide new theoretical insights. It should, your review should give, and it should develop a new model as a conceptual framework that should also should come through. You should also be able to convince your reader that your research proposal will make a significant contribution and it is going to fill some major, so that therefore your review has to be done बहुत शांति से और तसल्ली से अपनी रिव्यू करिए. इसमें हफड़ दफड़ मत मचाइए, इधर उधर से लेकर जोड़ने की कोशिश मत करिए. अगर आप ऐसे करेंगे तो फिर आप कन्विक्शन से आप अपना प्रपोजल में अपनी चीजें नहीं बता पाएंगे. I repeat, think over what you read, review it carefully, dwell on the results, try to collate them, try to put them in a logical order, try to show to the reader that your research is drawing from all this analysis and will take forward this show. I hope you feel enthused to do review. It's always a pleasure, as a researcher, I have found this as one of the most exciting parts of my research in my life, to review what others have done and what delimitations of their study they have said and what they wanted to do and could not do in their research. When you read that, that's really a pleasure. Try to enjoy it, and you एक बार शेर को खून का रस मिलेगा तो वो बार बार once you review your review, start enjoying your review of it, find meaning in it. I'll now go to the next most important part, and that is, of your research proposal. Look, क्या objectives लेकर चलें? Ma'am, difference between aim and objectives. Very often, Professor Bhan and I have been asked these questions, and therefore, I'm speaking for her because she's a friend of long standing, and we are both in our profession, we are enjoying our profession thoroughly. And therefore, the questions that we are putting to you is coming out of what you are asking. So let's first look at this. What is the difference between the aim and the objective? I have written it very clearly for you. The aim is about what you hope to do, your overall intention in the project. And aim is therefore generally broad, okay? The aim need not be specific, but the moment I start writing objectives, they have to be specific steps that will help you achieve your aim. Is that clear? तो आपने एक broad aim लिखा और उसको आपने देखकर आपने देखा अगर ये मेरा aim है तो मैं कैसे, I'm glad you're finding it interesting, friends. It always helps a communicator to get this. Thank you for your positive feedback. I go back to the aim and the what, the aim and the objectives, friends. The aim is what of our research, and the objective is the how of the research. The objectives should be logical and coherent. They should be feasible. They should be realistic, and they should always consider the local conditions. They should be defined in operational terms that can be answered. Phrased to clearly meet the purpose of the study. That's very, very important. So once you are clear about your aim and your objectives, you have really almost written your proposal, right? Because remember, we've gone through 4 major things. We have decided our title. We have written, thought over how we'll write our abstract. We have thought about the introduction, how we will do a review, and we have thought about aims and objectives. Thank you, friends, for the reinforcement. Let's now go and see how should the objectives be stated. The objectives should be stated using action verbs that are to be measured. It's always used. It's very good to say, to determine, to compare, to verify, to calculate, to describe. Do not use vague non-action verbs. अगर मैं लिखूं to appreciate, to understand, to believe, ये नहीं ठीक, because ये वेग है. याद रखिए, बहुत क्लियर होने चाहिए एक्शन वर्ब्स, जैसे कि मैं आई want my objective to start with saying to determine, to compare, to verify. I repeat this. General or specific objectives में भी फर्क होता है. The general objectives of the research is what is to be accomplished by the research project. The specific objectives relate to the specific research questions that the investigator wants to answer through the proposed study and may be presented as primary and secondary objectives. This, I wanted to state this very clearly for you. When you start writing, you can revisit these points that I have written for you. I hope you are clear with writing or the difference between an aim and an objective and the difference between a general and a specific objective. You know, when I am on boards where I'm clearing projects, if the objective is written well, you know, it really makes one feel very happy. And I have had even my own colleagues come and say, thoda sa objectives ko dekh do, objectives clear hone chahiye. You know why we do this? Because agar objectives clear hai, so the research is really a joy to do and a joy to review as well. Okay, so please remember, this is a very crucial part of your research proposal. There could be certain questions and there could be a hypothesis. Very often people don't really know what is the hypothesis. You know, they use what is a null hypothesis? What is the difference between this term between a null and an alternative hypothesis? जल्दी से इसको भी देख लेते हैं कि एक hypothesis क्या होता है और इसको कैसे बनाना चाहिए. A hypothesis is usually a very precise, a testable statement of what the researcher predicts will be an outcome of. Suppose I was to say that, let's look at the current situation, you know. Suppose I was to say that I have a vaccine with me, and there is this whole big issue of, you know, a vaccine for coronavirus. Now, suppose I say this vaccine will have no, you know, it's going to not affect. I don't presume that it will have a positive or negative effect. I just say I'm going to study the vaccine and coronavirus. What do you think it is? Is it a null hypothesis or is it an alternative hypothesis? Look at my slide and try to answer this. मैं फिर से रिपीट करती हूँ, आपके पास एक वैक्सीन है और आप कोरोना वायरस का एक स्टडी रिसर्च प्रपोजल बना रहे हैं कि क्या इस वैक्सीन का आप कहते हैं कि इस वैक्सीन का मैं असर देखना चाहता हूँ कोरोना वायरस को रिमूव करने के लिए. तो ये अगर मैं स्टेटमेंट देता हूँ तो ये नल हाइपोथेसिस है कि अल्टरनेटिव हाइपोथेसिस? आंसर इस स्लाइड में है, देखिए और बताइए. अल्टरनेटिव. कितने लोग एग्री कर रहे हैं कि ये अल्टरनेटिव हाइपोथेसिस है? Good. Yes, it's an hypothesis that states. Good. Okay, I'm going to go straight to the next slide. I'm sure your responses tell me that you have understood what I've been trying to say. Great. Well done, friends. Well done. Okay, let's then look at the methodology. The methodology also needs to cover certain things. It needs to cover an overview of the approach. How are you going to go and collect your data? How are you going to analyze the data? How are you going to approach your questions? आपके controls और comparison group में कैसे होगा? Research design क्या होगा? आपके research के subjects क्या होंगे? Inclusion और exclusion का क्या criteria होगा? Sampling procedures क्या होंगे? Data की क्या requirements है? Analyze कैसे करेंगे? Plan कैसे करेंगे? आप interpret कैसे करेंगे results? क्या सिर्फ quantitative लेंगे कि qualitative procedures भी आएंगे? आपके बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट इशू मेथोडोलॉजी में कवर होना है. कई बार ये छूट जाता है कि एथिकल इश्यूज को आपने कवर किया कि नहीं. देखिए, रिसर्च में इंपॉर्टेंट है, लेकिन कहीं पर भी हमें एथिकल इश्यूज को नहीं छोड़ना चाहिए. आपकी मेथोडोलॉजी ये सब कुछ एक्सप्लेन करेगी, तभी आपका प्रपोजल निकलेगा, पार होगा. Is that clear also? Are you clear with the methodology?
I want to add something here, if you permit me.
Please do, please do, please do.
All these things that you have mentioned here have been covered with the participants. So you're just putting it all together like a complete full circle. It's coming to a full circle.
Yeah. Wonderful. That's kudos to your planning. I would put it. I'm so happy to hear that. Okay, then friends, let's also look at how we will make a timetable. You know, I have shown in horizontal lines and vertical. There could be things that you can do parallel as well. एक के बाद दूसरा करना जरूरी नहीं, साथ साथ भी हम कर सकते हैं. तो आपका जो टाइम टेबल है ये बहुत रियलिस्टिक होना चाहिए. थोड़ा सा टाइम ज्यादा लेकर चलिए, कम लेकर मत चलिए. That's a golden rule also to keep in mind, because ज्यादा लेकर चलना और उसको पास करवाना ज्यादा important है. कम लेकर चलना और फिर हफड़ दफड़ में to huff and puff and then do research is not a good way. So please look at this bar diagram later. You will understand. But timetabling is also very important. सबसे ज्यादा मुद्दा, the money, money, money. It's a rich man's world, but the budget has to be realistic. आपने बहुत अच्छा क्वेश्चन पूछा था, गवर्नमेंट के प्रपोजल्स कैसे पास होते हैं, यूनिवर्सिटीज में कैसे होते हैं. गवर्नमेंट बहुत बड़ा मैग्नीफाइंग ग्लास लेकर बजट को देखती है, यूनिवर्सिटीज कभी कभी नहीं देखते हैं. द बजट translates the activities into money terms with a task wise and month wise breakdown. Remember that you cannot just say मुझे ये सारे काम के लिए इतने लाख दे दो, वो नहीं कोई मानेगा. आपको उसका ब्रेकअप देना पड़ेगा. और प्लीज रिमेंबर, जस्टिफिकेशन इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. जस्टिफिकेशन ऐसे सोच के चलिए कि देने वाला बहुत टाइट बजट लेके अपना बैठा है. तो डू नॉट बिकम, don't think that there is lots of money. Even if there is lots of money, it's always wise to ask, in a realistic manner. Because sometimes, people say, double मांगे आधा तो मिलेगा ही. I don't think that's a good rule. It's always good to give a good justification, ask realistically, give a little more, but don't give too much more. The sources of funds are also indicated in the budget. That makes it a good budget proposal. You must also say, I'm asking number of people, to give me the budget for this. I'm not banking on only one person. Ek lala hi nahi dega, on a lighter note. I am going to number of organizations because I am convinced that my research is something that many organizations are wanting to get results from. So please do the budgeting very clearly, friends. Remember, bibliographic references, I told you, have to be written in a certain style. Vancouver style, citing is usually mentioned. I have talked about other styles. You can always go to the previous proposals that are reviewed, that have been passed, and follow the bibliographic references that are, often recommended by certain universities. But I've given you a gist here. I also want you to remember that annexures to research proposals have to be carefully drawn. I'm almost ending, but I want you to see this very carefully. आपके कई बार हम जब पूरा रिसर्च प्रपोजल लिख लेते हैं, इसको छोड़ देते हैं, और कई बार यही मुद्दे बीच में आ जाते हैं और नहीं आपका अप्रूव होता है. तो आप याद रखिए, cover letters sent to appropriate stakeholders, official letters for permission to conduct research, questionnaires, responses, permission, ये सब होना भी बहुत बहुत जरूरी है. मैंने एक लिस्ट बनाई है, कॉमन मिस्टेक्स क्या होती है प्रपोजल राइटिंग. इनको भी आप ध्यान से देखिए. ना ज्यादा लंबा होना चाहिए, ना ज्यादा छोटा. किसी का चोरी मत करिए. लास्ट बुलेट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. चोर पकड़ा जाता है हमेशा. So plagiarism, it has to be totally avoided. आजकल तो we can find it out in a second. So please remember, a common mistake is you think that the person will not know. The person may not know the soft now just running your proposal copy it will clearly indicate red and green and blue. Not fool you. It is done in a mechanical manner. Failure to provide proper context to the frame of the research question is also a common mistake. I have listed a few failures. Read them, friends, but too many citations also, are and lapses and incorrect references, etc. show कि ये जल्दी जल्दी किया हुआ काम है. So avoid that. Too much of rambling, going all over the map is also, I like this term, going all over the map, and that's why I've used it. Don't do that. Be clear and precise in what you're writing the proposals. Move forward with ease and grace like a seamless river. So I have talked a lot, but remember the grace of a seamless river is what you should remember. In conclusion, I will say the final chord in the song is like जब हम गाना सुन खत्म होने वाला होता है गाना, आपको जो लास्ट धुन जो सुनती है वो बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट होती है. It makes the listener feel that the piece is complete and well done. Please follow the musical notes and chords that I have talked about. Reflect over what you have said, what has been said to you. The PPT is with you. Enjoy reading it again and again. And this exercise, if you're doing it first time, I hope it will be happy for you and you will attempt many more. Those of you who have written earlier proposals know what I'm talking about, and I'm sure you're going to continue to write research proposal after research proposal. Happy understanding what I have said. Please remember, a job is well done only if it is enjoyed. The task of writing a proposal, a research proposal, should be enjoyed. It should not be an ordeal. ऐसे उसको मुसीबत लेकर मत करिएगा. मैंने बहुत सारे पॉइंट्स दिए हैं, बट जैसे अभी प्रोफेसर भान ने कहा, आपने ये सब सुने हैं, कोई नई चीजें नहीं बताई. ये सिर्फ आपका ध्यान उस पर ज्यादा देने की जरूरत है. छोटी छोटी चीजें जो छूट जाती हैं, please remember them, and thank you very much for your patience. I read thank you from you. I'm glad you're writing well explained, because I, as a teacher, it's a wonderful session. Thank you. Thank you so much for writing this. I'm so happy that you are giving me positive responses. At whatever time of the day we talk, we always want these responses. Thank you, Professor Bhan, for giving me such a good audience who has really, I think, understood, and they are really giving me, they made my weekend. They have made my weekend. And please remember, my email ID is Ahuja, A-H-U-A. I married Mr. Ahuja many years ago. That's how I start my email ID with Ahuja, and my name is Anupam, so it has another A. I'm making you remember because people sometimes write a single A. So it's Ahuja A. Ago I was 56. So Ahuja A56 at gmail.com. I wait for your emails and I look forward to you enjoying writing your research proposal. Remember, I am part of your family. Do keep in touch. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. I almost feel like I should tell you, please take a bow. That was a brilliant session, and it was very informative, and it has actually empowered me to pick up a pen and start writing a research proposal on a topic that I've been long contemplating to do so, and I'm sure it has done the same for everybody. It's lit a fire under us, and I think we're all going to do something about that fire. I also really appreciate the peppering of analogies, reference to fairy tales, parables, saying, music. It's been a complete explosion of the senses, and all I can say is thank you so much, and I'm so glad I was able to experience this session with you. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you for your kind words. It's really well said.
Professor Anupam ji, thank you so much. This was truly an icing on the cake. This was what I expected, You have lived much more than the expectation. I knew it would be like this. So thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Jana, we are a mutual admiration society. I admire your work, you admire mine. And I hope this will continue, this Jugalbandi, till we decide to have
Yes.
yes, till which we won't, I'm sure. There is so much more to do.
Yes, absolutely.
Look forward to seeing you in Delhi soon. If not, an online one very soon. Thank you.
Fingers crossed. Keeping fingers crossed. Yes.
We will be in touch online soon. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. Thank you.